And we are live. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of the Business Breakdown Podcast. Today, we have a local business powerhouse joining us, Clayton Robinson, owner of CR Plumbing. Clayton's not just a master plumber, he's a combative sports veteran who's applying those fighting skills in the business world. We're diving into the changing landscape of DFW, particularly Flower Mound, where I grew up, and the unexpected parallels between combative sports and business leadership, and also how Clayton has scaled his local business. Quick shout out to the community. Want to join a network of ambitious entrepreneurs, access exclusive resources, and get all your finance and business questions answered? Join our thriving Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/finance for individuals and businesses. We'll see you there. All right, let's bring on the plumbing prodigy. Clayton, good to have you here, man.
Thank you so much for having me on.
How you doing?
Great. Enjoying this hot summer so far.
Yeah. Does the heat have a lot to do with plumbing on the commercial side during the summer?
It just makes it more emotional and
More
less fun.
emotional. Yeah.
Getting those hot attics.
So you're in Flower Mound. I know we touched on that already. So I grew up in Flower Mound, and you moved to Flower Mound in
2017, we moved to Flower Mound.
2017.
My wife grew up in the Argyle area.
That's so cool. That's so cool. What high school did she go to?
She went to Liberty Christian.
That's
But
right.
whenever they were in shacks up towards Denton.
Yeah. Off of 377, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, didn't Sean Payton go and coach there or something at some point?
Yeah, he's over there now.
Damn, that's crazy. An NFL coach at a high school team?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you have any idea how they're doing sports wise?
I haven't been able to keep track of them.
Yeah.
All of our stuff, our kids go to the Argyle school system.
Where do your kids go?
Argyle.
RO? That's cool. That's cool, man. So I know you came here to Texas and you didn't start your plumbing business immediately. Why'd you come to Texas?
So got recruited to come to Texas and fight MMA full time. Came over, fought MMA, met my wife there, and then once we got together, one of my good buddies that I trained with, My Plumbing, that's in the Dallas area, started doing plumbing there and kind of worked my way up. About 4 years ago, we started our company.
Who was your first couple of hires that you had for the plumbing company? Because I know that you were probably trying to create it on your own for a little bit.
Yeah, it started with me and my truck and a trailer. And then for the next 4 months, we brought on 2 extra guys and then growing since then. Now we've got about 9 trucks running.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's all out of Flower Mound. What areas are you serving?
So we service all of Denton County and all of Tarrant County. Anything service for residential or commercial. We'll travel over to Dallas and Frisco area just with bigger jobs.
Yeah. That's cool. Talk about the MMA side, because that's something that we both have in common. I didn't do MMA, but I was a competitive boxer for a long time, and going from boxing to business, it's definitely a big change, and I'm sure it's a big thing with MMA.
It's definitely different because if you had situations going on, you just literally punched it out, basically. So, but it taught work ethic. It taught a lot of structure, dedication. So taking all those aspects of my own personal growth and realistically learning myself, even how my body works, being training so much, you have to understand your whole body, when it's time to rest, when it's not. But understanding that allowed me to understand even the mental status for owning a company and building a team.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Daisy just commented, being a fighter helps us grow. Being a fighter, I think, helps us be better business owners. That's 100%. So Daisy
Definitely.
was a boxer. I'm familiar with her. She was a boxer for quite a bit. She's still in and out of the boxing gym, keeping in shape and stuff like that. But yeah, being a fighter, being able to handle that level of stress, it's just different. And we kind of talked about it, but being in team sports, most of your life, you have people to rely on. You don't have to be as self-sufficient, but once you get to individual sports, you realize that it's just you that's up there.
Yeah, you have your team that help you. You need your team to help you get better because you need other training partners with that.
For
but
sure.
You lose, you have to decide to get back up and fight again. It's
Yep.
the same thing in anytime we do anything in life, we can learn how to fail and get back up and try again. Some people don't even, so when somebody fails, they just go somewhere else
Yeah.
or they do change something completely different.
Yeah.
You have to be able to adapt and overcome that and
Yeah.
get back up and go.
For sure. And consistency is a big thing. And just navigating the challenges of not being good at something. Um, that's it's not something that people are naturally gifted with. I think it's worked in over time.
100%. You have to, if even in any kind of sport, if you're not consistently doing, you're not growing, you don't consistently show up to the gym, you don't consistently train, you're not going to get any better. Same thing in business. So if you're not consistent,
Hmm.
building a team, you have to have a team. You are not consistent with your team, it looks like a roller coaster. You're not going to get to where you need to get or get to where your dreams want you, where you already see yourself going.
For sure. For sure. Man. How big's your team?
I have 22 employees.
22 employees. So of those, I'm sure they're all great employees, but the first couple that you hired, are they still with you?
So the first couple I hired are not with me. The longest one's been with me. A couple of them are for 3 years.
Nice.
As we're growing,
Hmm.
they weren't ready for change.
Yeah.
Some people weren't ready for change. Some of them weren't ready
That's a tough lesson.
that were with us weren't ready. And eventually, we all ready.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't consistently doing what I said, they wouldn't. The ones I have now wouldn't be with me either. But I have to have enough wins with my team.
Right. To build that foundation of trust and vision and just to see the mission going forward.
So they can, yeah, if they don't trust you and trust what your vision is, but how does their vision and their goals fit into your vision and goals? You have to help connect those dots for them,
Yeah.
or them help, or adapt your vision towards the team type of team you want and have, so you guys can all succeed together.
Yeah. Figuring out what your team wants individually in life and everything is pretty important, especially whenever you're trying to lead teams and build companies.
100%.
The more you can really empower your team, the better off you'll be. Um, and once you kind of figure out what they want, you could definitely start taking that angle and, like you said, start integrating that into the business.
Getting in your team to actually think for the future is one of the, I mean, right, you're do whatever your business is, but if you don't get your team to want to dream farther than 2 months or actually have a plan, it's hard for them to see the vision to help themselves and their family as
Yeah.
well. So it's not even taking angle. They are the same. It's just as a leader, you have to figure out, how do those dots connect? Also, how can I help them get that win? How can I help them have that success? Even if it's from getting a house, they don't have one, or right, getting to the next level. Anyway, we can help them as their leader
Yeah.
and business owner. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Bringing in a team or even just people in your network to help out your team.
100%.
Um, that's that's definitely a big win for your team. I've seen there's been a handful of times when I had someone that was working with me on a project or working for me on a project, and I helped them pay for schooling or helped them pay for test certifications for whatever they needed to learn to do their job better. And doing stuff like that and kind of holding them accountable, but being more proud of their progress. Um, I had a pretty good response with stuff like that. Um, yeah, just building your team is a pretty big piece. Is a pretty big piece. Um, who are your kind of main mentors with the business?
So, I mean, I've had my growing up, my mother, big piece, taught me all the morals I have. Also, as I have a business coach, Linnell Silverstein, she's helped me out through a lot of it. She also worked with one of my main managers.
Mhm.
But
And your mom was a CPA,
yes,
right?
so I've had to go back to her and be like, where did you learn some of this stuff? Because it was just kind of ingrained in me as I was
Right.
growing up, different things. Not to quit, but those whole pieces kind of taking that. And she taught me one thing: learn off other people's mistakes so you don't make your own.
Yep.
And I've like lived my entire life through that. and even in business. So even now, I'm trying to find business owners that are 10 times farther than I am, so I can learn off of their mistakes, so I can scale even faster.
Right. Yeah. Learning from others is pretty big. Learning from others is pretty big. Learning from their mistakes is even bigger. Who said that? Like I think it was Einstein, something like that, maybe. Learning from your own mistakes is big, but learning from other people's mistakes
Yeah.
is even bigger.
And I mean, like, right, I was fighting MMA full time. If my wife did not push me to do more and help support that,
Yep.
she's one of the smartest people I know in there, but she's pushed us to do more, be more. And now it's kind of helped get us having that support, and that push has helped get us where we're at as well.
Yeah. Did uh did your wife support the MMA career pretty heavily?
I met her when I was already doing, so she didn't have a choice to
Touche.
support it or not.
Yeah, touche.
She was actually she's a pro belt in jiu-jitsu. She's got better stand up than I do.
Wow, that's cool.
So
That's cool. Does she still train?
not anymore. She tore her knees
Mm,
and stuff like that. So
yeah, that
kind of
definitely.
like let's not beat myself up anymore.
Yeah, no, I get it. I was the same way. My shoulders wore out and pretty much had to quit or rehab or surgery. I mean, you get your pick of the litter.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's unfortunate, but I mean, there's still I don't regret doing it. I used to train super super hard. Um, I would I would cry sometimes going to training just because I was just so emotionally ready just to start training and just kind of give it my all.
Yeah.
And I was just ready to sacrifice everything because I just wanted it that bad. And then obviously with emotions going up and down with boxing and combative sports, you can't really have that. So you figure out kind of how to stay even keel after a while.
You gotta be able to control your own emotions so
Yeah.
you can use them to your advantage, be able to access it. The same
Right.
thing is like you learn, that's what I was talking about earlier, like in combative sports, you learn your body.
Hmm.
You learn how to regulate your own emotions. I mean, you can even feel like, right, if you had to cut weight, I could feel like, all right, I lost 5 pounds already. Like I could feel it all. I could feel things move like, okay, I need a little bit more carbs because I could feel my body not act right way.
Yeah.
But even with that and the emotions, going entrepreneur, you have to have that regulation and be able to, oh, I'm a little bit, so I have to reset so we can stay focused, so we can stay consistent.
Yeah. It's definitely a science, and everybody's body is pretty different. Um, a lot of people ask about cutting weight and stuff like that. Just people who don't have any experience with that, they're like asking for meal plans and stuff like that. And honestly, you just have to figure out how your body is, and
Everybody's body processes things differently.
yeah, and you figure that out over time with experience, and then even with handling stress levels, because we talked about kind of the difference between team sports and individual sports, but with individual sports, it's just a different level of stress. Yes, you have your team and everything who's like there to help you train and get ready for it, but whenever the performance is on, it's very different from a team sport.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's all up to you and everything that you prepped for
Yeah,
and being mentally prepared more than anything else. You
and
could have all the prep you want from the best people you want, but if you aren't mentally ready to get in there, you're not going to succeed.
yeah,
The same thing, entrepreneur. Like if you're not ready to get to the next level, you're not. Your mind's everything with that. You got to be motivated every day. It's going to wear you down, but you have to find those moments that are the reason why you're doing it.
stay hungry, humble, and smart for
Always.
sure. That's man, just always being able to move forward is such a huge advantage. No matter what really comes at you, because just being in as a fighter or a previous fighter, understanding that it's going to be okay the next day as long as you continue to improve, continue to build that foundation. Um, it's definitely powerful. There's are your kids in MMA or combative sports?
No, they're not. We'll do like we used to do a lot of like wrestling around in the house. I'm not gonna push them to do it.
Yeah.
They're gonna do it when they get time. Like, well, they'll go play in there, but I'm not like, hey, you have to go in there now and you got to train this. My wife always like says, well, why didn't they even know this yet? Because if I shove it down their throat, they're not gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
and get what I got out of it. All that. Now my daughter has no choice. She has to do it longer than they will,
Hmm.
especially jujitsu.
Yep.
She's going to be able to defend herself. Luckily, I have one of them. The other one, boys, they're going to figure it out.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Your daughter's in it currently?
No, she's not. She's only 4.
Okay.
But there'll be a chance where they'll have to go into.
Have you thought about like an age that you might start kind of introducing her more to the sport?
Well, I mean, introduce with wrestling around in the house and that kind of like Gracie game type stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll introduce her more probably when she's about 8, 9.
That's awesome.
Will be definitely.
Man, so tell me, so I know we talked a lot about Flower Mound and kind of what's grown around there. Whenever you got to Flower Mound, Main Street was two lanes, two-way?
So when I was dating my wife, that I have now, 407 was 2 lanes, and then 2499 was 2. Like, and that's just expanded like no other
Yeah.
in there. And the growth that's been in that area, even when we moved there in 17, it's ridiculous, and it's just growing even more. And
Yeah.
they've got huge neighborhoods popping up in the next like 5 years.
Do you do new construction business?
We do a little bit of it, mainly stick to service
Cool.
and remodels.
Cool. Yeah, Flower Mound's gotten crazy big. Even the high school doesn't look the same anymore.
No, not at all. I mean, they're all going to grow to have a couple different high schools, most likely in this area in there. But the community is really great. Like, they all get together and support each other, which has been amazing.
Yeah. Are you part of Flower Mound Chamber, or you said Argyle?
I'm part of Flower Mound Chamber
Okay.
and Grapevine Chamber. My director, she's over Keller Chamber. We also service Tarrant County over there. There's a couple other networking groups I go to.
Nice. Nice. Do you like I haven't been to the Flower Mound group.
I like it. As long as networking is all about doing it right. A lot of
Right.
people will go in there and like, oh, how am I here, you need to do my business. Well, no, I gotta, why did you get to know you and build a relationship with you? Like, hey, why did you get that? Why did you choose to go to what you did?
Mhm.
Having that connection, and that builds a partnership. And then that's how you can scale using networking.
Yeah.
We gotta go to the coffees every morning, but there's all different groups, from the coffees to the lunch to the happy hours, as well as the different bigger events.
Yep. And it's some events feel very different. Like working an event behind a booth instead of at a booth. Or not at a booth. Like instead of getting a booth, just working the booths
Yeah.
is different than just standing at a booth. There's And then on top of that, you could even be a speaker or something. There's so many different ways to leverage those networking events, and they're all pretty different. But chambers are really great and easy to consistently see the same people
If you're
and build
not,
those.
but if you're not going consistently,
Yeah.
I can't say I'm perfect, especially right now. But if you're consistently people going to like, well, this guy's here all the time. I've got to talk to him,
Yep.
right? And that if that's the key to success from anything is consistency. And if you're not consistent, people don't know what to expect from.
Right.
It's not trustworthy
Yeah.
on that. But you mentioned booths. If there's any entrepreneurs that run booths, if you're going to do anything, get stuff for the kids. I get bells, clappers. But what I do is I go to the kids at their level and I talk to them and I'm like, hey, when your parents are driving, shake this as loud as you can because they can't get to you. And the parents are like, oh, I'm like, but you'll remember me. And then I walk away.
Yeah.
But you attract the kids, you attract all the parents
That's pretty funny.
every time.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. There's do you go to a lot of networking engagements, or just kind of
I go to
chambers
many
and
of-
work on the business?
I go to chambers, work on the business. We have different events we'll go to, trying to pick the right things. I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
So my wife, she
And
got
a
her
pretty good
master's
sized
in-
team.
Yeah, a pretty sized team. I got good managers to help me with that.
Mhm.
But my wife got her master's in business, but then she's also helping with all the kids as everything else. So it's 4 kids that not like I come support where I can too. So I can't do some of the other ones that are after hours.
Yeah. Yeah. With managing a team and trying to scale your company, it could definitely take up a lot of time. And it's a lot of time that you would be dedicating to your family or someone really close to you. And that's part of the sacrifice. But building building that team, it's not something that goes away. It stays around forever. People
But,
remember the good managers, the good bosses,
mhm.
good leaders.
But at the same time, as if you have a good support structure at home too,
Oh yeah.
it helps with that. Like what I'm doing by building the company is I'm creating a whole different aspect for my family,
Hmm.
but not just my family, every employee's family that's connected with us too, with those.
Right.
So every time I'm trying to scale us or learn more, I still have to make sure I get those balances, but having support at home to help with the kids understanding, hey, what the long term goal is, it helps with that.
Do you ever go to like seminars?
I've been to a couple seminars. There's some more I want to start going to. Problem is, there a lot of them are out of state.
Yep.
So fly out
Yep.
and then a $2,000 seminar.
Florida, Las Vegas,
Oh yeah,
Miami, California. Yep.
yeah, places I would like to travel, but adding more extra pieces to those.
Yeah, for sure. There's a handful of conferences that I've seen like around DFW, but there's not a whole bunch of like huge conferences like
Yeah.
they have. But I think that's going to change.
Oh yeah, a lot of business
Um,
coming this way.
yeah, and especially because gambling might be here within a couple of years. I don't know if you knew that.
I have not heard that one.
So, you know how Mark Cuban sold his
Hmm.
part of the Mavericks? Well, he sold it to a casino mogul, and they probably have a handshake deal, and they're lobbying to bring some gambling pretty much right across from the American Airlines Center, and we'll pretty much find out by 2026 if we're getting it or not.
Oh, we got
So,
interesting.
and if that happens, a lot of the market share that goes to Oklahoma, that goes to Louisiana, is all from Texas, Dallas, Austin area. They're all going to be stopping in Dallas. Um, I think it's I think people will still go up to Windstar and out to Shreveport and stuff just because it's iconic in this area.
No, definitely.
But I think that'll the second gambling is legal in Texas, I think it's going to change the dynamic with Oklahoma and Louisiana.
There's a lot of things that are changing to, and people are coming into this area.
Yeah. Um, did you um, did you have to deal with any of the short term rentals closing out?
I didn't have to deal with any things with short
With
term
like
rental.
Airbnb pretty much shutting down the DFW area.
It didn't affect us a whole lot
Yeah,
with that.
that's good. Yeah, I was just curious if you do you have like I mean, I was just thinking out loud, like a pipeline of Airbnb owners or something. That's just what I was thinking
So
of.
not in this area. There's not a whole lot of.
That'd be an interesting portfolio.
I know we deal with a lot of realtors.
Hmm.
We partner with a lot of them because we'll talk to them and their clients and educate them and their clients on plumbing.
Hmm.
We'll look at the inspection reports for free in the areas that we serve and talk to them and their clients. We'll go into different realtors' offices and educate their team on like understanding plumbing because more knowledge is power. The more
Hmm.
knowledge they have, the better they are to be able to take care of their client, and that just helps bring back more clients for them.
Right. Right. Yeah, taking care of your people is pretty big. Um, Education is a really big piece, especially nowadays with so many scams and stuff going on.
I mean, just like you were talking about earlier about being taught the one way, people don't teach people uh, all like, hey, this is the way I was taught, just because so and so told me, I believe him. Instead of asking questions and questioning answers,
Mhm.
like we need to get back. We literally teach our entire team to ask those. Just because I'm master, I say that doesn't mean it's right. If we don't understand why this works this way or why this done this way, we can't make a decision on our own.
Mhm.
We can't understand it. I literally have a banner in my shop that says ask question answers. I tell my employees, question me. If I can't give you a legit answer that works the way you need it, then I don't know it enough. We need to go find the answer together or find someone else that has it for us.
Right. Building that critical thinking bridge with your people can be tough, but once you get it in line, I think it's such a great trait to
Society has a problem with problem solving.
yeah.
We and it's simple as asking questions and learning. But some people have a hard time with I'm asking you questions. it's hard to come to someone that you don't really know, knowing that you're coming with a learning mindset.
Hmm.
They constantly think you're questioning them. No, I'm trying to learn. The only way to learn is asking questions off of what you have. But we all shut down in society like, oh, why are you questioning me? I'm not, I'm asking so I can learn, so I can understand more what you're, because I think completely different than you.
Yeah. The thought process, it's always interesting to kind of dive deep and figure out how someone is working out a problem in their head. Um, and once you understand how they're doing it, it's a little easier to digest it.
But you have to understand that it's like building a team. If I don't understand each one of my employees, like right, what their goals or
Skill
why
sets.
they do or where they came from, how it worked, or how they think, right? What do they do when they're stressed? Do they move faster? Do they shut down? Do they do they cross over themselves and trip up?
Hmm.
Do they forget things? Because the more I learn my employee, the more I can help them, and we can teach each other how to catch those pieces. Right? If you're my employee and I know you're stressed, you like shut down. I can see it in your face. Hey, go take a walk, reset. But now we help support each other, even understanding that. Now we can work further and build this trust together.
Yep.
And now I know how to I know how to communicate what I need done to you the way you need it because I've learned you and what you need to connect dots.
Right. Where did you learn most of the leadership qualities that you have now, you think?
So once so I've never read books growing up. I grew up ADD, ADHD, like dyslexic, but I never read books.
Hmm.
My wife, we'd go to Oklahoma to go visit my family, and she put Audible book on there. First time I
Hmm.
read an Audible book. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Okay. I was like, I thought I was going to fall
Do
asleep.
you remember the book?
It was a sci-fi
Okay.
book in there, like right, because that's I like
So not about
sci-fi. No,
business.
it wasn't a business.
Okay.
Once I opened up my business, right, and then I went networking. And I learned off of there's a book one of my neighbors gave me. It was called E Myth. My wife had forced us to go vacate, like do trips during the weekend, get me out of
Hmm.
work or whatever, but it was hard beginning. But I'd listen to it for 3 hours, like to Broken Bow, and 3 hours back. But I listened to it 3 times. Then my business coach would give me more. So I try to take all of that and I read it the first time to check the box to absorb it. Second time, I try to implement every time I'm reading something, I try to implement it in that day. Try to make it part of my routine,
Yep.
part of consistency.
Yep.
And then the third time I read it, I try to teach it. Because once I start teaching it, I realize, oh, I don't know enough of that piece because I can't communicate it. So then I go back and reread that, re-listen to it. And doing all those, I mean, you have to have an army behind you. Well, every person that wrote a book, every person that they've ever learned things on, that's you're now getting a whole platoon from each book. Well, I need to be able to get where we need to go. I need armada of different platoon. Like so, each book I get that entire their army and my them behind me helping me grow, as well as I try to get my team. We have right now we're reading a couple of John Maxwell books. We meet up on Thursday mornings
Good dude.
and kind of talk about the book and go through it. Generational wealth is what we're going to create, but that's all here first.
Yep.
You got to get better here, so then your life will change with it.
I 100% agree. I think generational knowledge is much more important than generational wealth because you can lose everything with one generation.
Yeah.
It's not going to take much, but teaching your kids how to operate a business, how to see things differently, that things have cost, things have value. Um, it's a really big piece. But going through and kind of building up your team, you're you're using Maxwell, which is pretty important, and it's been around for a long, long time. Um, Great. He's written so many good books. What book are you guys currently reading or going through?
So we just went through the 15 irrefutable laws of growth.
Hmm.
I'm using those books to build leaders. I want a whole team of leaders.
Nice.
But they have to understand their self, understand what they want, and that book teaches them how to set goals. So you can't be a leader if you don't already understand how to make your own goals
Yep.
and what you want in life. Because you can't expect to lead someone else when you don't know your path.
You gotta lead by example.
And then one we're doing now, but we just finished that one. We're switching into is um, 5 levels of leadership, I believe is one.
Hmm. That's cool. Do you, what other mentors, like, I guess their thought process or even their leadership capabilities do you look up to,
Um,
whether it's a book or a figure?
so I try to take everybody, even the one that has a business that's not to my scale. Everybody has something to give and some experience and some perspective.
Yep.
So I can learn off of anybody and everybody. What I'm looking for now is someone like, right, we're at 4 million last year. So I'm looking for someone that's at 10, 15 that I can go pick brain with, have that conversation, and constantly a mentor like that
Yep.
is what I'm looking for currently. So
Have
I
you
can scale.
have you already met a couple people
I
in
have
that
not.
realm?
It's they are doing a lot different things than they're not going to the networking.
You wanna plug it and just say what you're looking for?
Well, I'm looking for a business owner that is in the trade industry that has a team and has grown their business to 10, 15 million or more. So I can piggyback off them and pass them.
Yep.
I There's no chance that we can building our team the way we have and will keep going. I want to change what people think of plumbing or the entire trade industry as well.
Yeah.
And that will help us do that.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. No, we'll be able to clip that and we can pull it also. Post it later and stuff like that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, not a problem. I think being able to network, and even if it's just a little ask like that, it's not a big deal. I think that's all part of business. Being able to help someone, even if it's just a little bit along the way, I think it's just a no brainer. Um, who have you helped along the way besides people on your current team?
I try to help along whoever that wants. Sometimes I can come a lot more. I have a problem with sitting in my coaching section of myself. So I'll coach or not meaning to if someone has a problem like I love solving problems like problem hey, this is what I did here.
Yeah.
So I try to help as much as possible. There's a couple other trade companies that we bounce ideas off of. I try to bounce off ideas and with them more than before I go to my immediate team.
Right.
So I can have come with them still bouncing ideas just a little bit more clear.
Yep. With already
Because
solutions
entrepreneur
and kind of,
mind, you're thinking about all kinds of different things and opportunities.
yep. And everyone thinks very differently because of their experience, especially whenever you start meeting people who have 10 plus years in business, they have a thought process that's already in place. Not saying that they can't evolve over time, but there's already something established there. And it's
Every 6 years we have to evolve and change because the market changes, everything changes around. And
Yep.
sometimes even earlier than that. You can't stick to doing the same thing. Reason why same way you started your business, it's not going to be the same way in the next like year
yeah,
of how you grow or what you're doing.
yeah. With your business, what were the first couple of changes that you saw with that? Like
So,
what evolved from your business from the beginning?
well, I I got we was a GM for a new construction plumbing company. I got let go. They said because I lost a big contract. So that day, I had started basically. It was the first time I ever had a phone call during the day of like just doing extra stuff. So I started my business then. So we didn't really even get to plan anything. As work, COVID hit the week later. So luckily, our
Man,
entire neighborhood and everybody around there looked local. And because I built relationships with people,
yeah,
different things from having drinks in the driveways before with our neighbors, but they helped promote us. So then we just kept growing and taking care of customers. You take care of customers, money's going to come in. But we had to go, I had to adapt and had to adapt fast, even adding processes and procedures. And boy, was that a headache trying. It would have been a different story if I already had them in and then brought team in. I literally had to implement it after we already had 4 trucks and like 6 employees.
that's awesome.
Well, the buy-in wasn't there.
Oh man,
So I literally at one time sat on each one of them and I'm like, hey, in this type of job, what would you want to make sure we get checked and balanced? This customer, it wouldn't do their justice if we don't check it.
hmm
Or and I put it in there. And then it wasn't what they called Claytonisms. It was Claytonisms. It was now, hold on. This is ours. What do you mean? Well, no. Look in there. What you put in here is here. Now it's ours. We all built this. Mine was only like real thin. It turned into about an inch thick, and I figured out how to minimize it after that. But
Yeah.
then they chose having your team have their buy-in is very important, but adapting to that was a pain. And as we grew, better employees came in, but they didn't know the past.
Yeah.
So people don't like change, and it's hard for them to accept it because they didn't get to choose it. And that was a big hard problem where we had some good plumbers. We lost them because we had to change fast to be able to take care of the customers, and the volume had come in
Yeah.
because we were doing our job, doing it well.
What was the time frame? Like you lost your job in the same day you started your company.
Yes.
That's crazy. What's the licenses and stuff like that look like for plumbing business?
So luckily I was already going this process. So it takes 8,000 hours to be able to even get your tradesman.
Yep.
Another 8,000 hours to get your journeyman. And then once you get your journeyman, you have to wait an entire 4 years to be able to test for your masters. When you do that, when I got mine, you had to go take a business course and then get insurance and then get registered with the state to be able to get a business.
So
Luckily, I already had my master's at that point because of the time frame I've already been in it.
Yeah. That's I have a lot of admiration for. I didn't know it was, you said 8,000 hours and then another 8,000
Mhm.
hours. Yeah, that's a lot of time. So I think it was 10. So because I was in project management, I wanted to get my certificate and stuff like that. It was like 10,000 hours, and I had already hit it. But just thinking about that and understanding that amount of time you allocated towards something or dedicated towards something is just crazy.
Yeah.
There's that 10,000 hour rule. Have you ever heard of it?
I'm not sure which one.
I'm trying to remember who said it, where it came from, but it's pretty much saying that this around 10,000 hours is where people become a master. And there's a lot of studies tied to it, like the Beatles. People never really heard about the Beatles until their 10,000th hour of music. And there's just a bunch of instances of that, and it's just an interesting number that people have kind of came to. It's 10,000 hours, but yeah, 16,000 hours. That's that's up there. So
Yeah.
how long would it take you to get to 16,000?
So I mean, realistically, if you're working 50-hour work weeks,
Yeah.
every one of the guys. So I mean, it adds up real fast. But once you get it's about say 2 years to be able to test for your tradesman.
Yeah.
Still got to go to class. Still got to go to get the test, and then another 2 years. So basically, 4 years to even get your journeyman.
Hmm.
Once that 4 years hits and you have your journeyman, then you have to wait. It's not hours anymore. Now it's time. 4 whole years. From the
Gotcha.
day you got your journeyman, you have to wait 4 years before you can even test for your masters in there. And that's just to be a master. Then you have your RMP is be able to own a company, responsible master plumber that's licensed.
What do you have? What's the difference between master and RMP?
Whenever I did it, was a business course.
Business
Now
course, okay.
it's insurance and you deciding to take on a company.
Gotcha.
And 90% of people that do that did not know what that meant.
Yeah. Do you think it should have kept the business class?
I believe they should have, because a lot of people don't even know how to manage their own money,
Yep.
their own finances, let alone business. There should have been more stuff in the business class than there was, but it even talk about different from S corps, all this other different stuff, liabilities that can happen. It kind of just opened my eyes to a tenth or 2% of what really can happen as a business. But I mean, a lot of them don't even. Hey, we have to tax commercial. Well, if not, there's a whole nother aspect in all business with that.
Yeah.
Just because you have your master's license and you think you have the knowledge, I learned more owning a company in plumbing than I did before. But it's a whole different animal
Yeah.
and a whole different stress.
Yeah. It definitely is. And I'll be honest, in the very beginning, whenever I was like in my late teens, early 20s and getting into the corporate world, I thought that, business owners ain't shit. I can do
Yeah.
that, kind of thing. And then you get humbled pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
Um, but
You only see a percentage, small percentage of what everything is.
yeah, there's definitely a lot that goes into it. What do you think your hardest struggle was with business, the business aspect?
You would have to ask me which time frame.
Which time?
There's
Oh, okay.
always different obstacles you're running into,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Um, in the industry, we have a very hard time with um, plumbers. There's not enough of them out there.
Hmm.
You spent society spent multiple generations telling people go to college,
Be a lawyer, be a
yeah,
doctor. Yep.
don't go to trade. If you're not smart enough to go to college, go to trades. That's what they basically said. Well, they are forcing a generation of limiting beliefs on that as well. But we also, the plumbing industry back then was, they wouldn't train them. They were like, "Hey, can you use a shovel for 2 years, and then I will train you." It was not a great mindset to building. So now we're dealing what we dealt with. So we're actually about 60% of my guys are under 25.
Hmm.
We're also building in the new generation of plumbers in
Nice.
that aspect. So we're having to build it, having to recruit and find out what are the pain points. A lot of people aren't being supported,
Hmm.
and supporting our guys, creating a work life balance for that, training new ones. So it's helped with influx. Always going to need more guys coming in. We're just having to try to, for every 5 we build, we hope one sticks. So
That'll
long
be
game.
yeah. No, I get it. Um,
In this area, there's no trade school for plumbing in Texas.
Not for any of
Not
the
in the
high
DFW.
schools,
No.
or I didn't know that. I know there's like welding, carpentry, stuff like
There's
that.
even AC, but they don't have plumbing.
No plumbing yet.
Not that I have found. Working with a couple, trying to get work with a couple schools to help make it in there, but that's a long process.
How I was gonna about to ask about the process. Do you know what the process is to bring in new curriculum?
Well, I mean, it's one,
Or like,
it's got to be funded,
yeah,
got approved by the board, got to see value. You've got to have the students that you got to educate the students on what it is so they accept to do it.
right.
I know Cal and Keller are starting, they're wanting to start one in the next year or two,
Nice.
but you've got to have students that want to do it.
Hmm.
Sometimes we'll go to the lunches for the Argyle schools, and any other school that ever wants us to go, we'll go and talk to them and talk to the students and educate them on what plumbing is,
Hmm.
what opportunities there are out there. But we're not teaching the new generation. We're not going to have any more. We're not going to have enough of them.
Yeah. When I want to say, when do you think plumbers like the interest in being a plumber started to decrease? Was there like a reason it started decreasing where it wasn't just, as pretty, you're gonna be dirty, kind of
Well, no,
thing?
I mean, what do you, right? What do you think of plumbing when you first think of it?
Well, I mean, when I first think of it, I think shit.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what everybody thinks, right?
Yeah.
That's probably like 10% of what we really do.
Yeah.
Anything with water, sewer, or gas is what we mess with.
Hmm.
The sewer part is 90% of the time is we're not messing with big. Oh, it's all rolling on top of you or whatever else. It's not really much of that.
Right. Right.
There's aspects of that, but
I know that I've used a couple plumbers for like looking at pipes and stuff for water. It's not always, necessarily tied to crap, but
no.
that is the first thing that a lot of people
Well, I
think
mean,
of.
it's, and again, it's one piece that people don't, plumbing works until it doesn't work.
Yeah.
We're educating people on how the maintenance, there's ways you can stay in front of that so you're not having the problem.
Yeah.
We don't want it to get in your house. We can figure out how to keep in front of all that.
Yeah. If you could teach a homeowner something about their plumbing, maybe one or two things, that what would it be?
Know where your house shut off is, how to turn your water off.
The shutoff valve?
Yes. If it's in the garage, yard, at the meter, have the tools to do so. Right. If not, have a device that you can do it from your app now. Understanding that you being flushing your water heaters, it's like changing oil in a car. You change oil in a car so it lasts longer.
Yep.
Well, you want your water heater to last longer too. Got to flush it, drain everything out, shut back all that sediment out of there, run acid base through the tankless. Same time as your water quality going into your house, there's as much chlorine in a pool as there is in your tap water. All the calcium and everything else that tears things up.
Yeah.
So trying to get far in front of that. Your sewer, it does build up chunks in there just from usage. You can actually go in and power wash the inside of the pipes and open back up so you're not having those problems when they're emergency.
How does that work whenever you power wash pipes?
So what we can do is we can stick a hose down in there. It actually shoots out all different angles.
Okay.
And we stick a camera behind it. We'll get it to the spot and then basically power wash the inside of the pipe and bring it back out and get it all outside your house.
That makes sense. Is that so? What services do you? What services are a little bit more popular on the residential side compared to the commercial side?
Well, they both have the same. They both use sewage.
Yeah,
They both use water. Um, Commercial, you can't. You really are not going to filter a whole lot of them. You're gonna catch the sediment through there, but you're not going to take all the chlorine out
Okay.
because you take the chlorine out, stagnant water builds up bacteria. There's not being used as much.
Do you do multifamily also?
Yep.
Cool. I have some contacts. I'll definitely
Perfect. Appreciate it.
pass your info along. That's cool. Man, that's awesome. So what's the future look like for CR Plumbing?
Our plan is to open up a second branch in the Hearst Euless area.
Nice. Good location.
Yep. We already service that area, so we want to grow that area. And then we're looking at franchising on that
Nice.
aspect.
Have you already started talking to franchise brokers or anything like
Yes,
that?
I
Nice.
have.
Nice.
I want to test this other. I want to test another branch, use our systems processes in there, and then as we keep doing that, possibly bring on other trades within our organization, so we can help change that entire trade as well.
Yep. Complementary services, complementary products. I've talked about that quite a few times on this podcast. I've had some mergers and acquisition people on here, and that's pretty common. I think it's a really good route for businesses to do, especially if it's like very common, especially if it's it would pair well with your existing network,
Yeah.
and then obviously your plans for the future. That's cool, man. That's cool. You want to plug your information?
No, definitely.
How can everybody reach you? Remind us again where you're serving, all that stuff.
Definitely. Well, we're Clayton with CR Plumbing, your local plumber you can trust. We service Denton County and Tarrant County. Do anything with water, sewer, or gas. We focus on customer service and communication so we can help you out and take care of any of your plumbing needs. You can find our website at crplumbingdfw.com, or you can give us a call at 940-367-3778.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, man. It was really good having you on. We'll definitely chat
Okay.
more,
Appreciate it.
especially about fighting and business, not in that order, maybe business then fighting, but
A little bit of both.
it's going to be good.
They
But
mix.
thanks again for coming on, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.